Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. I hope wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours that you've had a fantastic, sensational last 7 days. And if I sound a little bit more upbeat than normal, I'm trying to be because it is winter here and it's not my favourite time of the year. I'm a sun bunny. I love the sun and the warmth and the clear skies, and at the moment it's cold, wet and freezing. So, you know, I'm trying to be very, very positive, but I'm sure there's lots of places around the world where the sun is shining and people are having a good time. And that's what life is all about. I mean, we've got to start, I think, looking at life through a different lens. I mean, we've had 18 months now, or just over 18 months with COVID, where everything's been doom, gloom, and everybody's sort of felt like they've had to hunker down and protect themselves. And I'm not saying we still don't need to do that, but I think now we can let a little ray of sunshine in, can't we? We can start to look towards some positive times ahead. We can start to look to times when, you know, our lives will become the new normal, where we will be able to step back out the door and go on holidays and go for that road trip and just have a picnic in the park and not have to worry. So I think we've all got to start looking at what things that we can bring into our lives safely like that we can start to see a little ray of sunshine in our life. And this week I'm working with the Secrets of Tarot card, and the card of the week this week is the Ten of Pentacles. Now, the Ten of Pentacles is money contentment. Wouldn't that be lovely? I hear a lot of you say where it's been such a difficult 18 months where money hasn't necessarily been the easiest thing to acquire over this time, but it's also the signing of a monetary agreement. Now, sometimes we have to sign agreements for many different things, and it can be something as simple as signing an agreement for your cell phone. So don't get too excited and too carried away and think, oh, well, I'm going to go and buy a house or I'm going to go and buy a motor car. It may not be that monumental. It may just be something as simply as signing a new utility contract or signing a cell phone agreement, or just something that you need to make a commitment to. And for those of you that sort of are trying to sort of manage your finances better, why not maybe make a contract between you and money that, you know, you're going to get on top of your financial situation and you're going to come out the other side in a much better financial position. I think that's a nice way of looking at this card, that we're going to sign an agreement with ourselves to be more conscious of where our money is going and make our money work for us. That would be a nice way to look at things. Whatever it means for you personally, it's a lovely card, it's a positive card, and it's telling us that things are starting to get a little bit better. So this week I want to dive straight into the astrology section, and I know each week it seems to be it's going longer and longer and longer because it feels that way to me. But we've had so much to talk about, and I had so many messages during the week in my inbox how people tell me how they really enjoy this section of the show. Yes, they love to hear the readings as well, but they really look forward to what's happening in the universe around for all of us. Now, at the moment, I want to sort of focus on the moon. Now, the moon only takes 2.5 days to go through a sign. So, yes, it does move very, very quickly. But at the moment, the moon is conjunct what's known as one of the Arabian parts called the part of fortune. Now, this is not saying this is where we're going to dig up a fortune in the backyard or where we're going to suddenly win the lotto or the lottery or games of chance. It just means that emotionally now, I think we can connect with our inner self to find what is going to bring us our part of fortune, what makes us tick, what makes us feel secure, what makes us get out of bed of a morning. We have the opportunity to do this, and maybe it might be a superficial thing that makes us get out of bed of a morning. It might just be that I want a new dress, or I want to go out for dinner, or I want to go on a holiday, or I just maybe want to pay some bills. Whatever it might be. Now, bearing in mind it's in the sign of Gemini at the moment. Now, Gemini is about great ideas, new opportunities, about shopping locally, about getting out and exploring our local kingdom. So this is why I think it's so important with the moon here, which will only be there for another 12, 14 hours, conjunct the part of fortune, the Arabian part, telling us to sort of emotionally look at what makes us feel like we're $1 million, what makes us feel as if we're really in a fortunate position, and particularly in our own local environment. It's really important that we look very deeply at that at the moment and find what it is, and then sort of maybe tuck it away for a little bit later on for some of those days where you're not feeling quite so positive, that you can go back to that brainwave that we had and say, oh, yeah, I really am a fortunate person. Now, moving on to the next part of the astrology, and we're really staying on the Gemini energy at the moment because the sun is in Gemini. We have the moon's north node. Now, the moon's north node is showing us the way forward. It's showing us where we can get answers, where we should be striving to, what we should be striving to achieve. Now, again, it's in Gemini. So the focus is on our own local environment, is on some brain waves, is on click of the fingers thinking. It's about light bulb moments. It's about things coming and going very quickly. It's about short, sharp communication. It's about having a little chat with the neighbour or the person down the street or someone in the market, and out of that might come that light bulb moment. Now, the north node is actually conjunct the sun. So the sun is in Gemini at the moment. We'll be there for a bit over another 12 days, and then it'll move into the sign of Cancer. So we're looking at that we need to be sort of trying to find some solutions, some ways forward of maybe sort of getting out and about and maybe participating a little bit more in our local environment. And that's why I suggested at the top of the show that maybe we need to be sort of starting to get out a little bit more if restrictions allow in your area, and start exploring our own local environment again, having a conversation with somebody as you walk through the park. Instead of always being trying to, we still need to socially distance. I'm not suggesting we don't, but we can stop and have a conversation and smell the roses or say, hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Nice to see you again. Been a long time, whatever the case may be. I think this is also going to help with our healing, and it's also going to help us take our mind a little bit off COVID, that we do have a life to live besides just being so focused on COVID all the time, that we can start to see how other people have handled lockdowns and restrictions and not being able to see family and not be able to attend special events or concerts or things that make you smile. And you may just find out of that, well, wow, I didn't do too bad after all, Poor lady I was just talking to had a much rougher time than I did. So these are all positive things that help us heal, and collectively you're helping them heal as well, because you've taken the time to listen to their story. And everybody has a story. And this is what I think the Gemini energy is about, is listening to other people's stories. We don't have to be there for the whole book. We only need to be there for maybe a paragraph or two or a chapter or two, and then we move on, and we move on to the next person or the next situation. It is about a fast-moving energy. Now, with the North Node conjuncting the Sun in Gemini, that's great. We've covered that. But the Sun is also conjunct or holding hands Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of communication. Mercury does rule Gemini. So obviously Mercury feels really comfortable here. So you might be finding that people are extremely chatty at the moment while you're trying to gather your thoughts and everybody's going chirp, chirp, chirp. It is the time of the year where Mercury does do his best talking. So maybe we've got to put our best listening ears on too, because there'll be some nuggets there that will really be important to us in time to come. Even if they don't register today, this present second, they may be important in, a couple of days, a week or a month down the track, that there was some useful information. So make sure you have your best listening ears on while Mercury's around as well. We also have a focus on Mars, the planet of action, and in olden times in astrology where countries went to war a lot more than we do today, thank goodness, it was considered the planet of war. I don't like to look at Mars as the planet of war. I like to look at Mars as the planet of action, the planet that makes us get up out of bed every morning and says, come on, you can do this. You've got the drive, you've got the determination, you've got the energy. We just got to get everything to align up now. Now, with Mars in Cancer, what it's asking us to do is sort of maybe take a gentler approach to the things that we would normally go into, like the bull in the china shop, and be aggressive and forthright and try and jam it down everybody else's throat. Maybe the way that we're going to gain the most here is take it softly, softly, gently, gently. Come in on a more subtle sort of way, not a deceptive way. I'm just saying on a more gentle approach. Instead of coming in and fiery and outspoken and bombastic, let's try the gentle approach. Hi, how are you? It's a nice day. Do a little bit of chit chat and get everybody feeling comfortable and relaxed. And that may just be the answer to sort of gaining further ground. Wouldn't it be nice if the politicians around the world took this strategy with some of the world meetings that are coming up in the next 7 days, if they all approached it softly, softly, gently, gently, instead of all going in and bombastic and saying, I'm the greatest and I want all my needs met and my nation or my country's the only one in the world that matters. It'd be nice if they took a leaf out of this book I doubt that very much will happen. I'm sure there's going to be some heated discussions at these meetings, and rightly so. There needs to be, people do need to stand their ground, but sometimes I think we could take a gentler approach and we achieve more. We have Jupiter still in Pisces. He's only just started his 12-month trek through Pisces. So there's going to be a lot of creativity. We're going to start seeing in news cycles some feel-good stories, some things where innovation or inventions or focusing more on ways we can fix the planet are going to become more the forefront. I'm not saying COVID's taking a back seat. I'm just saying you're going to find that the news cycle will try and introduce some more creative stories, some things that are going to tug at our heartstrings, things that are going to make us feel that there's something positive and collectively good happening in the world. And you can put the vaccine story in that basket too, because as the world becomes more and more vaccinated, people are sending out a more and more positive message, and that's a good thing too. So it's sort of, it starts to make everybody sort of feel we are starting to get on top of this, or we're starting to win the war against COVID. And, it's a good thing. We still have Pluto in Capricorn. He's been there for a very long time. He's still, in his last lap now of Capricorn. He's only got just over 12 months to go before he moves into Aquarius. And it's been a very, very long time that Pluto has been in Capricorn. Pluto has been in Capricorn since back in 2008. So it's been a very, very interesting time there to have a planet sitting in an energy for such a long period of time, over 13 years is a very long transit. And it's been something that I know Capricorns will be so pleased to see the back of Pluto, but so will a lot of the rest of us too, because Pluto actually is the planet of transformation. He's the one that comes along, he's slow, deliberate, definite. The messages of Pluto are not easily forgotten. His role is to tip everything upside down, to make us look under the covers, look under the crevices, the rocks, all the dark hidden places, look inside ourselves for anything that needs sorting out. But because it's in the Capricorn energy, it's also asking us as a globe to really start to take responsibility for things that aren't working. And I've mentioned this many, many times before on the show. I do believe that COVID was sent to us for a reason. Whatever that reason may be is not particularly 100% clear to me yet, but it's directly partly as a result of, I think, we as people needed to change. And unfortunately, the only way that human beings change is when we're forced, is when our hands tied up behind our back and we're actually forced to make a change. Do we do it? We don't necessarily do it willingly. But when you look at the things that are going on in the world at the moment, where we have things like we're in, financially the world is going through an economic shake-up. The things that, the jobs, the businesses, the things that were the backbone of nations now are being questioned. People are starting to look at, well, hang on a minute, prior to COVID, I had a job in a situation which wasn't particularly stable. When, the COVID crisis came along and it shook the tree, all of a sudden I didn't have a job or I didn't have secure work, and it's made me sort of rethink things. And a lot of people are in that position at the moment where they're rethinking, do I want to go back to the work that I previously did? Or is this a wake-up call? Is this a time to look at maybe a new career, a new job path, something different that's going to give me more security, that's going to give me not so much more job satisfaction, but give me more security knowing that I can work from home if there's another pandemic, or if this pandemic drags on, that it gives my family the security of knowing that there's an income coming in, that we can still meet our weekly commitments and put food on the table and function as a family. And they're very important questions that need to be addressed at the moment. And I can understand people really questioning those things and really making some life-changing decisions. And I know in the last month I've had lots of people ask me that direct question when I've been performing readings, is it time for me to look for something more secure? I'd never thought about this before. But now it's terribly important to me that I see that even though, we might have had a lockdown and then we've gone back to work, we've gone into another lockdown or whatever, and nothing is guaranteed. And, we've gone back to work and our hours have been cut in half, or, there's so many things that have changed. So everybody is questioning everything. And that is exactly what Pluto's role was to come in and ask us to question about the important things in our lives, the things that we normally would sort of take for granted, but it was asking us to look at our finances, look at our health, look at our family, look at the way that we approach the world, looking at everything right across the board. But most importantly, I think Pluto is asking us to really start looking at what we're doing to the planet. We really need to start taking climate change really seriously and start looking at what we as an individual can do that will collectively become the we, that will improve the planet that we want to leave behind for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. We don't want to leave it in a mess. We don't want to leave them without water and resources. So we all have an active role to play in this, particularly this last 12 months of Pluto being in Capricorn. See what we can do, even if it's only the smallest change. If everybody makes one small change, that will be one huge step for the globe as a whole. So we're going to talk with Alison in Aurora, Colorado. Are you there, Alison?
Yes, I am. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you, Alison. Do you have a question I can work with, please, sweetie?
Well, I would like to know if you just feeling like you have any messages from the other side for me.
Okay, Alison, can't always guarantee that they're going to jump in just because we want them to with such a short time. What I can share with you, with what's being shared with me at the moment, is that there's massive change coming up. Have you been working towards making a change or a massive shift of something in your life over the last 3 or 4 months?
Well, yeah, I guess we have changed. We have a granddaughter that we have custody of, and her mother has just recently come back into her life.
How do you feel about that? Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, now I am. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and I'm finally just, I've been listening to the messages that come to me, and, I'm making sure that I feel good about it, and I do. I feel like, it's been a positive thing so far.
Well, that's good. It's good that you're listening to the messages that are coming through and also listening to your own gut feelings, because they can be one and the same. Messages from the other side don't necessarily magically appear in our inbox as a form of an email or whatever. Quite often they're just a feeling or just a knowing, or you wake up this morning and you've got an answer to something that's been puzzling you for a while. That is quite often a direct message from spirit that we don't quite understand where it's come from. But what they were sort of showing me was back as far as sort of, say, February, March this year, there'd been an energy shift in you. So that may have correlated with the news coming through that your granddaughter was going to be reunited with a mother. And then you had to really sort of address that, you and the family had to address that, at what this would mean and is it the right time and all those sort of things. And I can understand your concerns. But I'm also being shown, and I don't quite know how to put this into context with what we've just been talking about, but I'm being shown a woman in spirit that I would have considered that was quite young, like in her early 20s, dressed in a long white flowing cheesecloth type dress. Now, I'm not sure whether that's someone trying to show me that this is how life is going to be, and that was how I first took it. The things are going to be carefree, like a young woman in the middle of summer, just enjoying life and, not a care in the world. That was sort of more how I took that, rather than directly saying that was a specific person in spirit trying to give me a message as such, like them showing me how they were when they were 20 and they were 80 when they passed away. I didn't feel it was that type of message. I felt this was to show you, Alison, that life is going to be carefree, like a young woman that's got the rest of her life ahead of her, that she's just, able to dangle her feet in the water and just feel very free and very happy and excited for the future. So that's how I'm interpreting that, Alison.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And I do think your granddaughter will adapt to the changes that are coming up.
Yeah, because we want to, we feel like we are her forever parents, that her mom will probably
Oh, of
be
course.
in her life, but just, she'll be in her life in a visiting way, but not as her primary caretakers. And we're good with that. We've come to be, totally perfect with that. So I just hope that that's the way it's supposed to be.
And that's really important. But I think it is also important that she has a relationship with her mother too. I mean, regardless of what the mother's done in the past, she still has a right to have a relationship with her daughter and, have some sort of influence over her upbringing. So all in all, I think everything's moving along nicely, Alison. So thank you very much for your call. We're going to talk with Tina in Sumner in Washington, USA. Are you there, Tina?
Yes, I am.
You have a question I can work with, please, Tina?
Just anything in general would be great.
Okay, Tina. First thing they're showing me is 1 step forward, 3 steps backwards. Is that how you feel your life's been going, particularly in this last 6 to 12 months, that you're not able to get any traction?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's about to come to an end, I'm going to say. Let's have a party at the end of this month, because it seems to be as early as the end of this month that we actually start reversing that. It'll be 3 steps forward and only 1 back, so that's going to be great. They're showing me lots of new potential possibilities on the horizon, and one of those was a question mark around how you're earning your income. So I'm taking from that maybe potentially looking for a new job.
I'm looking to, yes, my income is an issue.
Yeah, but I'm seeing a new opportunity coming up, like a new job. There's a question mark around what's the right thing to be going towards. I mean, obviously, we need something with more money coming in. But I would also sort of say something that's going to give you more security overall. It's like I want something that's not just got more money coming in, but I want it to be consistent. And that's what I feel is coming towards you. So even if you're casually looking for another job at the moment, you just have to make sure that you know exactly what it is, that the boxes that you want to tick. There's no point in going into something that pays great money, but it only does that for 3 months. We want something that's on a more consistent level. I just feel the second half of this year, Tina, is going to see your finances, number one, definitely improve. We're certainly going to be able to pay down any debt and get things sort of more in control, that you feel as if you're back in the driver's seat again, and that's really important. They're also sort of showing me it's time now that you've got to put yourself first. I think you've been too busy most of your life running around after other people and making sure their needs are met, that your needs come almost at the bottom of the queue. Well, we're going to put you towards the top of the queue. I'd like to see you in the number 1 position, but I think that's a little bit hard for you, Tina. You're such a giver. For you to be in that number 1 position would feel very uncomfortable and very selfish. So maybe 2nd or 3rd or 4th would be okay. And, that's going to be something you're going to have to work at. It's not something you can get up one morning and say, great, I'm going to the front of the queue. It's something that's, really going to have to keep educating yourself that this is where you should be going. Now, has there been a few friendships that have dropped off in this last 12 to 18 months, or people that you've realised that, hang on a minute, this is a one-sided event?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I don't want you to sort of grieve over that or be upset over that anymore. I want you to sort of turn around and say, well, thank God I sorted that out and didn't invest any more time, shall we say, not waste time, invest any more time in people that weren't, giving something back to me. There's new friendships to come, but this time, we might only make, say, 3 new friends, but those 3 new friends will be rock solid. They'll give you as much as you give them. And that's the sort of people we want on your side. All in all, I think everything's going to sort of really start to swing back around the other way, Tina. I'm seeing nothing but good things. But I'm saying to you, you've worked hard to get to this point. It's been, like a really long, arduous trek, particularly this last 18 months. It's been I don't know where you've had the stamina and the energy from to keep going. I mean, a lot of other people would have thrown in the towel, but you've still sort of managed to get up and go each day and keep thinking tomorrow's got to be better than today. And I applaud you for that tenacity, but your hard work is going to pay off now, sweetie. And they're showing me a beautiful big heart from spirit. So I'm not sure whether that means that you're going to have lots more love in your life or there's a resurgence of the current relationship, but there's certainly a lot of love coming your way.
I get that. That sounds great.
Yeah, but I mean, and I think also too, it's a symbolic message from the other side, sort of showing me that, they are with you, they're supporting you, they're loving you, and, just keep going. But anyway, that's where we're going to leave Tina now. We've come to the end of the show again. The 30 minutes go very quickly. But before we go, I just want to promote the fact that I'm wearing a beautiful necklace and a bracelet made by Terry Cote from Drum Jewels, and she was David Cassidy's former drummer when he was alive in the band, and she's brought out these beautiful range of jewellery in honour of David, and it's beautiful Cassidy rose with puka shells and pearls, and I'm really proud and honoured to be wearing them. If you want to know more about them, I'll put some posts up on my Facebook page, but Terry is a really, really lovely lady, and I really feel very honoured that she's making me some beautiful collections of jewellery to wear on the show. It's very, very nice of her. But, for those that watch the show regularly, you'll know I have a huge passion for David Cassidy and John Farnham, but David Cassidy particularly has been, longer in my life, I suppose, in some ways, and many people around the world. And I find his music very uplifting and, come on, we've all got to come on and get happy. Let's get on the Partridge Family bus and have a really great week and wave our hands out the window and sing and dance and sort of find things to be positive about. I think that's really important now. As we move forward in our lives, we need to sort of really embrace this Gemini energy, get out, explore our own local environment as much as we can do safely. And until next week, have a great week. Bye for now.